This morning what I have done, because it naturally happens this way, more than anything else, I have dealt with attitudes and showing certain type of problems that can inhibit the process to deal with it. But it has to do, it's not external to the process. But see, I didn't go through constructing an actual exercise, right? I showed you little bits more impressionistic thing, dealing with a conceptual difference, dealing with an obstacle, dealing with not understanding, right? So it's a lot of work in attitude. Some competencies like to conceptualize or or to analyze or to synthesize, but in impressionistic. I often do this when I have a whole day. The morning I take it a bit as it comes, right? Deal with attitudes, a little problem here and there. In the afternoon, I try to show you a more constructive exercise. So more step by step, right? Because the morning people, if they're not used, by the time they work up with this general surprise of this kind of functioning, right? Then I can do this. Then people see, and once we see, we can do sort of a more organized thing. But in this moment, what I would like to do for this 45 minutes before lunch is to ask some people that came in private to ask me questions. So now it doesn't have to be urgent because there's no process going on now. So that only has to be interesting and important. Okay, it does not be urgent, right? And even you don't have to think if it's for everyone. It can be just for yourself. So we've just minimized the sieves. We've minimized the sieves. Only if you think you have a question, don't hesitate to ask it. So the people who want to ask a question in private, I told them to ask it now. Okay. So who has a question to ask? Yes. Okay. So go ahead.
What I've observed now at Saturday night at Thanks with the yes or no questions, that you've been very insistent on a yes or a no, and a lot of people, including myself, were reluctant to give it and looking for other options. Now, is this, and there is to my mind, there is an option of I don't know. Is the earth round? Yes, no, I don't know might be a legitimate option.
Yeah. No, I
do you
don't.
not want that? Is this just for the sake of the exercise that I don't know isn't helpful?
Okay.
Or is that not a legitimate option?
No, I use I don't know. I use it not all the time, but sometimes I say I don't know. What I don't want is the weasel concept, trying to weasel out and get a little bit of everything, right? Because as well, suppose you say I don't know. Because I don't know can be a weaseling
Sure,
thing.
it could be a cop-out,
Yeah,
but
so,
it can be
yes,
genuine.
but hold on. That's what I do. Then that's a judgment I make. If I think it doesn't make any sense, for example, I say, okay, do you understand or you don't understand what the person is saying? It doesn't make any sense saying, I don't know. See, if you don't know if you understand or not, that means, and I say, well, if you don't know if you understand, do you understand or not understand? It means that you don't understand. But people don't like to say, I don't understand. They'd rather say, I don't know. But it's, you don't understand. So when you say, do you understand or don't understand? I don't know there. If you say, did he say this or that? Did that person say this or that? Well, you can't say I don't know because you don't remember, so that's possible. But to say, do you understand, and to say I don't know, that makes absolutely no sense. So I'm just watching that I don't know just becomes another way of copying out. So I use it, sometimes I use I don't know, sometimes I don't give it as a possibility. See, because the human mind is very tricky. It knows all the tricks in the book, naturally and intuitively, or by education, culture, to avoid what I call committing yourself. And just for people who are not there, what's your name again? Deborah. The other day, we had a little round, a sumo round, her and I, like these sumo round. Quick, boom, 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 boom. And I'm asking her to make a decision. And she said, I don't know, I cannot make the decision. She said, you know what you're going to do? And I asked her to pull out a coin, Heads, it was yes, or no, it was the other said. Now, of course, this is absurd, but who cares? The question is to learn to commit yourself. And why we don't want to commit ourselves to one thing. Look, your life is not at stake. Just try it, yes, no, and we'll see what happens, And just try to. And sometimes we have questions with the kids, for example. I'll show you this afternoon, but I invent many exercises for children. Because I write in the children's school books. In the language school book in France, I did grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, and I'm writing grade 4. And an example. Well, example of exercise, right? It says, it's about evaluating argument. So evaluating argument. We have the following. I ate because. Okay? False. I ate because. There were 10 reasons. So, I ate because my friend had a chocolate bar. So I say, is that a good argument or no? But what I do, I tell the teachers, try to do, is say why yes and why no. So it doesn't matter if they say yes or no, why do they say it? And if they don't say yes or no, well, then they cannot produce an argument. So I say, if they say don't know, just flip a coin. Who cares if they say yes or no, you know? Because and that's why the difference with pragmatism, because we problematize, everything you can say yes or no. Absolutely everything you can say yes and no. So I don't care what you choose, but choose. And that's what you have to give up, like I was telling our friend. You have to learn to give up the other option. You have to stop trying to have all the options covered. Because that's what we're trying to do. It's a desire for all potency. I want to cover everything. No, commit yourself. Learn to give up. Learn to give up. If you take the left door, you won't have the right door. And that's educating the child. Grow up. Learn to choose, says Plato. But even look at the adults. We don't like to choose. You know, what's going to happen if I choose? The other day I was in an ethics conference. The guy doing these doctors, he says, by asking to choose it, you're trying to corner me. No, I said, I'm not trying to corner you. I'm inviting you to discuss. I'm inviting you to know where you stand. Don't call that cornering. That's apparent vision. Of course it might look at trying to corner you, but that's not the issue, see? So it's to learn to commit. Thinking, other definition of thinking, to commit yourself. There's no thinking without a commitment. Now, I don't know if that speaks to you or not, but that's what it is. So I'm inviting you, and I don't care what you commit yourself to, but commit yourself. Now, who doesn't want to do this? The good student. The good student doesn't like to commit himself. He likes to be sure. He wants to give the good answer, the one the teacher has said. But commit himself, we say in France, no. No commitment. Ooh, that's dangerous. That's why good students don't like this kind of exercise very often. Yeah? Because they don't know where it's leading. So that's the name of the game. I don't care what you commit yourself to, but commit yourself. That's important. And that's why I insist so much, say yes or no, but as well, vanilla or chocolate, same thing. But there are other moments. There are moments for saying, let's find a new idea. There are moments for why. But there are moments for, but why? I ask many kinds of questions. But all the time I hear, why do you ask yes and no? You know why? Because that's the most shocking question I ask. But I ask all the questions. I ask why, I ask produce a concept. But nobody said, hey, you forced me to produce a concept. I don't get that. But I go, oh, but you forced me to say yes and no. Which shows we're all Chinese. Yeah? In a way, we all do not want to say yes and no. Because that's compromising. No, not compromising. It's a commitment to something. Yeah? So it's not only for the fun. When somebody says, well, it depends. Okay, ask me if you want to marry me. You know? Ask me if I want to marry you.
Do you want to marry me?
It depends. Right? Just to show what it is. You know? Or ask me another one just for fun.
Are you an atheist?
No, ask me if I want to marry you again.
Do you want to marry me?
Yeah. You know, I do this. What?
I'm not convinced.
Thank you. Of course. Yeah, I hope you know. Yeah, but I want to show how all these so-called answers we give. So I dramatize by doing a funny thing. You want to hear?
Sure.
Huh?
Sure.
Not sure. Yeah, but the not sure is again. I say in school, I say, you know, if you're not sure, that's the third door on the left. That's the school psychologist. We're not certainly not sure. Here, by definition, we're not sure because in philosophy, we're never sure. So who cares you're not sure? But what's your idea? And I'm glad you're not sure, you know?
Well, so the vanilla chocolate is a different thing again, because with the vanilla chocolate, you're excluding the fact that there are other options.
Thank you.
And so when you're asking someone to make a choice and commit themselves to vanilla or chocolate, you know, that they may not want vanilla or chocolate, and they don't want it. You're saying, you're insisting that they have to commit to that, but they do want caramel, and they know that there is that choice for caramel. So you're then not really allowing them to have that discussion.
Okay.
You're not inviting that
Good,
discussion.
thank you. Now, do you see any interest of not allowing that discussion? Do you see interest to it or not?
I think it's important.
No. Listen.
Yes, I do. I don't understand what you mean by interest.
That's
I don't
that's
understand.
lovely. That's what I get all the time. Wait a minute. Can you repeat what you said about interest?
I don't understand.
Okay. This is so beautiful. Do you speak English?
Yes, do you?
Good interest.
I
Have you ever
understand
heard? No. Good.
It's the
No, wait, no, just make it slow. I'm your best friend. Oscar's your best
Okay,
friend.
here we
Till midnight. Forget. Otherwise, you know, get old couple discussion. You know this? I told you that. I told you. You know old couple discussion. You know, you know this? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
We all do, of course. You know, even people who are not married know what old couple discussion is because they do it even more than the others. So, old couple discussion, a fundamental way of discussing. Yes, no, yeah, no, okay. So, you say you don't know what interest means.
I do know what interest
Well, good. So why are you telling me you don't know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
know in your context.
That's right. Don't just say that's right. Fun clubs is the last thing. I tell you, if you want to be her friend, don't tell her that's right. But that doesn't make her to think. That just is comforting her in her stuck position. So let her help me, please. Okay? Okay. Because see, the point here is to find who sees here. Let's see. Who sees here the nice problem we have with
Rosetta.
Rosetta? Yeah, I should remember. Yeah, Rosetta. Yeah. That's it. See, yeah. What do stones do in general? What do they do? Stones. What's the main characteristic of stones? What's the main characteristic of stone?
Firm.
Thank you.
Solid.
Thank you. Okay. So, at least you're honest. Okay, that's good. So, who sees here the thing with Rosetta, this funny thing Rosetta? Who has picked up something here? Anybody? Tell me, I don't know what you mean by this word. Anybody wants to say the problem? Raise your hand if you know. 2 people. Just keep your hand up so we see how many people want to do it. If you know, you raise your hand. Just keep it up so we see how many people have an insight to this. Just keep it a little bit. Don't worry. You can put it here if you get tired. Yeah. And wait until Rosetta chooses. Put your hand. Keep your hand up 1 minute. Rosetta, ask one person with a hand raised and tell me what's going on here.
Ask Dr. Ho.
That's you put yourself.
What's going on here?
I think, not I get no answer, right?
You can put your hand down to speak to it. That's okay.
The problem is with the language. In other words, there's so many connotations that come with the word interest. And you use the word interest, thinking that Rosetta will understand what you mean. So Rosetta is asking you, which connotation are you using in relation to the word interest? That's how I see it.
Okay. Did you understand what Dr. Ho said? Does that help you in any way or not?
It helps me.
No, that just.
Yes.
Did you learn something from what he said that you didn't know before?
No.
Then tell him it's useless, Dr.
It helped me because...
No, Rosetta. Do not cheat, you see? That's exactly what we do. We cheat. Why do we cheat? We want to be nice.
All right.
We want people to agree with us. No. So you see, you find a way to still be polite and tell her it's useless. Are you surprised she finds it useless what you told her? That's
Not
surprising.
surprised at all.
No. So,
English is your language.
yes.
French is your language.
Yes.
Chinese is my language.
Yes, but the point is that what do we need for Rosetta here? We need for Rosetta to think the unthinkable. The person that's going to help Rosetta is the person going to tell her something which can, oh my God, what are you telling me? That's going to be. Otherwise, if everybody, oh Rosetta, you're right, you know. How can you understand Oscar? He's French, you know. Who knows how he's using words? And, oh, yes, Rosetta, you cannot know. You're not his head, Rosetta. You cannot, you know. And Rosetta, yeah, oh yeah. Oh yes, you got it. I'm with you. We're going fan clubs, you know. And outside you sign autograph, you know. All the Rosettas, please, this way. Line by 4, you know. Anyway, who is an insight in Rosetta to get her to fall off her chair? That's what she wants, to fall off her chair, right? Think the unthinkable. Who has an insight? Raise your hand. Only one person has a one. You raise or you don't raise? You're cheating. You put your hand there. Well, if you're not sure, see, I know it. This is the sign, right? Oh, this means I'm not sure. This. Don't worry if you're not sure. Do you have an idea? Do you have an idea for Rosetta? Yes or no?
No.
No, then put your hand down. Then what's got not being sure has to do? You have no idea. So that's a general anxiety. That's very good. Third door on the left. Okay, but yeah. So who has an idea for Rosetta? Raise your hand. Only one person. One. No more. Okay, Rosetta. Then ask that person. What's your idea?
What's your idea?
My idea is that it's not a problem with interpreting the word interest. I thought that the method, Oscar's method, is challenging you by narrowing down options. There's only chocolate or vanilla, and you'd like there to be more, so I think you're rejecting or evading the challenge.
Okay. Do you understand what she's saying? You see the she fell off her chair. Very good. I don't know if it's true what you said or not, but based on Rosetta's look, this is a good and interesting declaration. You know, you spoke Martian. Huh?
Am I allowed to comment? Because I don't remember your question now.
Rosetta. This is beautiful. I love this.
What was
Rosetta.
the question?
Rosetta, can I repeat your statement? It's so beautiful. Am I allowed to comment? Great, Rosetta. This is sheer beauty. Yeah. What does that mean? What does this mean when somebody says, am I allowed to comment? What does that mean in the head of the person saying this?
Assuming you're not.
And that's, don't do this. What does that mean?
Means that you're going to take the Mickey out of me again.
Okay, that's a nice expression. Yes, okay. Does that mean that you like what she says or you don't like it?
No, I don't know.
All right, huh? And that's what I want to know. When somebody says, am I allowed to comment out of that? I don't want to hear this phony question. I want to hear, ooh, I don't like it. So I say, great, she fell off her chair. That's interesting, okay? Do you want to hear things you know already or things you don't know?
Things I don't know.
Tell her, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
All
for
right?
telling me what
Instead of saying, I'm not allowed to comment, say, hey, I work with kids with a lot of difficulty in France, because kids that are like 14, they're in high school, but actually they're actually in elementary school classes because they don't have the level of special classes for them. And they're terrible. They discuss, they're like, they're so, fragile, so nervous. One says something right away, and it's crazy. Go, boom, boom, like, it goes so fast the way they cut each other. So I try to teach them a way to create distance, yeah? So once I went like that, I was getting tired of doing this. Wait a minute, look, if you want to really cut this guy down, show he's wrong and all this, just do this. So you take time to think about it, tell him to follow it. Say, hey, that's very interesting, dear colleague. And then when you say this, you take time. Then I came back a month later, once a month, and the teacher said, all month long doing something. Hey, very interesting, dear colleague. Now, it sounds ridiculous in a way, but they have learned to take distance, right? And that's how I'd like to teach you. Somebody says something weird and says, can I comment now? Say, hey, interesting, dear colleague, right? And while you're doing this, you'll take a breath. Okay, she said what she thought. This is good. I wanted her to do this, right? But if I say, can I comment on this now? Next time, poor thing, she's so sensitive, she won't dare confront you,
But you weren't giving me that option. You wanted me to, and it was one or the other. So
Do you
I
appreciate-
understand you're
No.
saying that I'm taking a pause. I'm pausing without forgetting myself.
Do you appreciate her statement?
Yes,
Do you know what she told you?
yes.
What did she tell you?
That I was rejecting what you were saying. It wasn't a question of understanding or interpretation. I was rejecting, and therefore that's why I've been listening.
Now, in the discussion you've had in your life, have you met people that pretend they don't understand the words you're using, just as a way, as a strategy, for not discussing with you and rejecting what you're saying? Have you met this? Or not? Say, I don't understand what you're talking about. Never. Or you did.
Not as a method of
No,
rejecting.
yes.
No.
You never did, okay? Now let me ask you, if I ask people around here that have met this, let's say that have never met it or that have met it, what do you think? I see now you're looking at that, that's interesting. Will they say they have met the situation? Somebody said, I don't understand what you're talking about as a way of avoiding the discussion? Or do you think they will have never met this? What do you think?
I'll say yes.
They have met it? Yes? So when you talk to
Majority.
the majority will say yes. So when you think about universal spirit, You say, yes, they have met it. But you say, you have never met it. No. Why do you say this? So it's interesting. Remember when it happened to Dylan? Did you find that strange when it happened to Dylan? Dylan said, I think that, and his representation of universal reason told him the opposite. Do you remember? Do you remember or no?
Yes.
Do you remember? Did you find that interesting when it happened to Dylan?
Yes.
Did you find it interesting when it happens to you?
Yes.
Yes. Which one do you prefer? When it happened to him or to you? Yeah, of course. Yeah. But see, for me, that's the point of doing a philosophy exercise. Is to drive a wedge. You say drive a wedge? Within the mind of us. So then thinking starts. That's what Plato says. Thinking is entering a dialogue with yourself. If you're stuck with yourself, if Rosetta is speaking to Rosetta, there's no thinking. There's just the gospel, pardon the metaphor, you know? There's just the, I call it the grandfather syndrome. You know, I don't know your grandfather, it probably was like mine. My grandfather repeated all the years I knew him. He just told things, he repeated me all the time. The first thing in life, you get nowhere unless you have your baccalaureate, that's the examination of the last year. For him, that was the thing. Of course, he didn't have it, you know? And the second thing is that people, the future belongs to people that get early in the morning. Because he got up at 4 o'clock every morning. These are the two things that repeated me all, by my memory, my grandfather, these two sentences. But you do this and I do that. We have these things we repeat on and on and on. And thinking, you say, stop this. How about getting up at 2 in the afternoon? You just stay in bed all morning, you know? Just for fun, right? And that's thinking. And that's my job, to thoroughly make you discover, wait a minute, through tricks I use. And that's, I want you to see those tricks. That's the most important thing. Now that's hard for you because you're undergoing them. Let me just finish this. Is to see those tricks. What did I do in Dylan and in you here? Is to realize that in your own head, because people didn't say what they thought. See, it's your representation of what they think. That's called universal reason. You realize that you think something, you as Rosetta, from universal reason in your head. And that is the application of a Cartesian principle, which is the following. He says, reason is the most widely, commonly shared thing in human beings. You know, why is it we can discuss together? It's not because we share the same opinions. We don't share the same opinions. But we share something in common. It's called a reason. And that's why we can stay for hours going blah, 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 blah. Because if we did not understand it, after 10 minutes, say, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go play football. And it's boring. But because we understand each other, we share common reason. And I'm trying to show you here, there's a schizophrenia within Rosetta, between Rosettian thinking and Rosetta. He's your friend. Yeah, but that's what he's appreciating, right? You like that, Tim?
Yes, because you're confirming my ideas.
Now, I told Rosetta, by the way, I told her, remember what I told you? I didn't know if he was your husband. She said, I'm going to bring my husband. I said, now watch, it's always lovely when there's a couple, because this you get all the time. The husband or the wife will say, I told you what he's saying. Yeah, I told you. Yes, that happens, by the way, that happens all the time. And that means that you probably chose the right husband. That's probably shows it, because...
Make me fall off my chair.
Finally, I've been vindicated.
You waited all this time.
I don't understand.
I saved your couple, do you realize that? He was going to divorce next week. But But just to come back here, so the idea of this is to introduce, drive a wedge within the minds of people of this debate between, for example, the singular and the universal with one's head. And that's, you can do, and all the tricks I use are devices I use to provoke this. And that's why it's so strange, you know, to do this, right? But now I'm doing a lot of it, but as time goes, then you do it to each other, you know? In fact, I was telling Janet, what practice we have in seminars, probably I'm doing today, but suppose we do, I don't know if I'm going to do today, but suppose we have a seminar again tomorrow, we would do exercises of 10 minutes by 3 people. At first, A questions B for 10 minutes, and B questions C, then 3 questions A. And Janet did this when she came to France. We have done this exercise. And then people practice the question. Yes? You know, or or yesterday, Noel did this to me, practice. But it's very interesting, you learn to question, you learn to be questioned. But you accept, we're not going to beat around the bush, we're not going to cheat, we're going to play well, It's not going to be, so, and this questioning is really allowing you to enter somebody's mind, to give up yours, and for the other person, it allows you, okay, come in my house, and points toward things, so I'm clear what's not. I don't see my house, you see.
But if I'm asking for clarity, it doesn't mean I'm rejecting what you're saying. And that's the thing. It's an either-or situation that you're presenting to me. I'm not rejecting what your statement was. I didn't understand what you said to me. I didn't understand your question in the connotation that you... That doesn't mean that I rejected it.
Rosetta, do you know the word interesting?
Yes.
Thank you. How long you want to go along with the fact that
I'm of universal, I'm going to stop now.
But see, but
Well done.
let me tell you, what is the problem? This is a classic one. This I get all over the place. I don't know what you mean. Forget what I mean. Did you hear what I say? Stop thinking. Stop thinking. What did actually Rosetta? Let me tell you that we're old friends, what you're asking me. You want certitudes. You want guarantees. You want to be reassured. But bad luck. I'm very bad at this. That's a school psychology 3 doors further. My job is to worry. My job is to create certitude in your head that I follow Leibniz, who says, philosophize is to make you uneasy. Yes, but does Rosetta like to be uneasy? Thank you for the answer. I love it. Do it again. Yes, of course. Because a human being. I like a comfortable chair, don't you? If you put me a chair on a stool with no back, I don't like it. And our mind is the same way, it likes to be comfortable. But when you go play football, you are uncomfortable, but you find fun in it. And I'm inviting you to play football. Create, and I won't be later on this, but somebody told me, as a criticism, some people said, what Oscar do is horrible. He's cruel, and he's going to do this to children, right? Yeah. They're horrible, yeah. The only thing is, the children think it's fun. To be cruel, yeah. We call that to be cruel. The thing to be cruel is fun. They use that. The Queen Mother, bring me Snow White's heart. On the plate. The year, okay, it's fun, right? We adults, that's not right. And we use all these tricks. So, that was nice. It was fun. You happy?
Yes.
And is Theo happy too? You think?
Very.
Well, you made your husband happy. What else can you do? Was there any other question or comment? Somebody else. Oh, you have. You see the problem.
Yeah, part of it is because I suppose we just attended a P4C conference, right? So
I was at the same one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
the main refrain coming out of P4C is that you should move away from debate towards dialogue. Right? Whereas in many philosophy departments, at least those that I've come from, the main focus is on debate.
Right.
I was just wondering that as a methodology, whether this, I know the dialectical debate part is important, but how does dialogue, in the P4C sense, sit in with kind of methodology?
Yeah. Well, that's a very interesting question. I'm proposing you caramel. See? It's not debate. It's not dialogue. It's thinking. I don't care if people don't speak. You know what I want to see in a child's eye when I do this job? I want to see his eyes going like that. That's what I want to see. That's what. Then I know something is going on. He's astonished. Yes? Or he's confused. Good. As Plato says, you're confused. Now you start thinking. Otherwise, you're just repeating. Your grandfather's repeating. Oh yeah, I think that, I can't stand that. I can't stand this discussion when you that's very personal. I can't stand it. Horrible. This is opinion after opinion after opinion. That's not what I read. See, I've learned philosophy. I studied philosophy all my life. You know why I studied philosophy? Because I fell off my chair. I first started reading Plato. I loved it. Somebody asked a question, you say, and somebody answered, oh yeah, I'm with him. And next up, boom, 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 gah! Finish, sumo, you know, boom, you're out of the thing. Before you know it, you're on your ass. That's why I do it. That's very personal, I'm telling you, you know. But that's what's great about philosophy. You're falling off your chair. I don't know if you like that, falling off your chair. Okay, I get that for an answer this style, okay? But that's the point. Now, the idea that the bet I'm making is that human beings, even though it's very uncomfortable, they will like it. They will like it. Because something's happening. Just like when I go to the movies, I don't want to see a thing I've seen 100 times. I want to follow up when I say, I know, I love Korean movies. You know, God, I say, what's going on? I'm surprised. I just saw, you know, one recently, but the guy was jailed for 15 years. He was put in prison. Have you seen it? Big man. You know, really, you don't know what to expect. That's the truth. I'm surprised. It invites me to things I've never seen before. You know, that's the idea. Now the problem, what are we looking for? We philosophize. That is the issue. So for me, it's not dialogue. It's not dialogue. It's something else. You know, you talk. Now we're doing a bit more of that. You know, dialogue. When I do a workshop, no, it's not a dialogue. It's not a debate. It's create thinking situations. And how do you do this? What is our weapon? Questions. Questions is more powerful than any statement. Not making a statement to explain, but that's not what I do. No, I'm just a workshop. Questions that you go there and, oh my God, I can't answer that. Good, you've got the right question. When I ask someone, do you want to get your head cut off or do you want to be hanged? I don't want to die. Okay? Now I'm inviting you to think the worst thing, death. Yeah? That's what philosophy is about. Think your affinity, even if you're mine. I don't know if it makes sense to you or it seems strange. Does it make sense to you or it seems strange? Makes sense. But I see, if I allow me, I still see it's causing a problem in your mind. This is what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I was just, it's just for getting sense of the purpose of the workshop.
The what?
The purpose.
The purpose. You don't know what the purpose of the workshop is.
You just clarified it.
I just clarified it. But does that solve the problem for you or no? There's still a problem, something bothering you?
Well, I suppose it's, the part that's bothering me would be, you see, if thinking is the outcome,
Yeah.
right? Then what would be the means towards the outcome? And I suppose that with the different theories that are out there, you know, whether it's in terms of dialogue or in terms of debate, they are saying that dialogue, like Vygotsky would say that the dialogue is the process towards getting the child to deepen his or her thinking. Whereas I think you're saying that what you want is to provoke the child so that they can have that internal dialogue. Whereas someone like Vygotsky, I suppose, would say that children perhaps they're not ready for that internal dialogue yet, and they need to hear the dialogue happening in the social situation before they can say, oh, okay, that's the way people think about things. So maybe in my own thinking, I'll start thinking in those social forms.
I'm not sure Vygotsky would tell children not ready. That's not the case because he thinks that children, the whole job is to decenter the child, to decenter. Piaget would say their stage. Vygotsky, no, he says, he encourages to say you can ask a lot to a child, and a child is capable of decentering himself. Now let me tell you, the best way to decenter oneself is through questioning. Either by asking questions, why? Because if I ask you a question, I'm not telling what I think. So I have to be distant from myself. And to answer a question, again, I have to be distant. Why? Because I have to listen to what you want from me. Not what I want to say, but what you want from me, and then try to deal with that. So in this Vygotskian sense, what is demanding the most, what allows a child to grow, is the questioning. You question me, and I question you. See? That's the correct one. So I don't see a problem there. The only thing that is a format for which we do this. I'll give you a concrete example. Suppose we deal with a question, just like because I don't want to make an opposition between a Lippmannian or other thing. What I do is it's be useless, right? In fact, I work a lot of people work with Lippmann. What I'm trying to do is how you can use some of the tools in this example. You have a question. So what I propose, a child gives an answer. Okay, are we free? The child says blah blah blah. So what I'm saying, instead of moving on to the next child, to say, okay, and you, what do you think? You do the following. And the problem you will be gone this afternoon, from what I understand, is I was going to do it this afternoon. Just give you 1 minute description. Instead of moving to another opinion, say, okay, let's know. First, is the statement clear? Is it clear with me? This kid has answered. So I ask him, who says yes, who says no. So we examine. Second, did he answer the question or no? Because sometimes, you know, I call it daddy went on a trip syndrome, you know? Why do we eat? Little child, 4-year-old, he said, huh? My daddy went on a trip, you know? No connection. Sometimes, of course, more sophisticated, but so second. First, is it clear? Second, did he answer the question? Third, did he make an argument? Is there an argument? Or is this because the idea we have to have an argument, to have a reason to say something, right? Is man good? Yeah. No, I need an argument. Yes, because the proof, they live together in societies, blah, blah, blah. You know, some kind of argument, yeah? So, then suppose, then we have accepted this because the class says that. In other words, sometimes what happened? Other kid, he wants to answer the first one. But the first one, we don't even know what he's saying, it's not clear. He never answered the question, so the debate is going, woo, go somewhere else. Thirdly, he has not deepened his thinking, we don't even know why he's saying that. But discussion goes on, right? So first thing. Second, let's suppose we get a new idea. Then we have to see, is it the same or different? What Phil Kahn was describing yesterday, right? I did this too. Is it the same or different than the other one, right? Is the second hypothesis fundamentally different or no? Because kids are good at that. You know, they repeat more or less what the other one is saying, especially small ones. It's different, right? So then we have a clear hypothesis with a reason and a distinct hypothesis. Then I say, who has a question to ask that person? And then we see who has a question, he has to answer. What's an objection for? In other words, what we're going to do, before moving to another idea, we're going to examine that first idea, we're going to work on it, do philosophical work. We do a minimum, then we move to the second one. So, in absolute, it doesn't change anything, but except we don't go from one opinion to another opinion, have just this debate of opinion, where in 3 minutes I don't even know what we're talking about. We want to do a difference between philosophizing and discussion. Is in philosophizing, you do a work on your opinion or ideas. In discussion, no, I just, okay, I like going to the movies, boom. And I don't like going to the movies, you know? So that's it. So the thing, then you organize it the way you want, but to stop and find ways to work with the ideas before moving on, right? But Phil Kahn, for the what people, I saw him doing stuff, using cards. Is this an argument? Is this? That's another way to do it, right? So I'm inviting you not to do it, but find the main thing I want is not to show you, I'm not showing you a recipe. I want you to think how, in the classroom, you can ensure that people are doing philosophical work and not just discussion. That's it. That's the biggest problem I see in P4C. People that are just having discussion. Now, if they're having discussion, why not? But don't call that philosophy, and especially don't pretend to be training for that. If it's just to have a discussion, just say, okay, give a service to the kids and let them discuss. You know? So let's not lie. Just sell whatever you want in your store, but don't lie on what you sell. That's all I'm saying. And if it's philosophy, there is something specific that has to be done. And the three things I give you, which is specific, is the following. You have to deepen, like Hegel. You have to deepen, to identify. How do you deepen or identify? Through giving arguments. Why do you say this? Through analyzing. What does that mean? Through synthesizing. Peter's done. Through giving examples. Through identifying presupposition. Basically, that's how you deepen. Problematizing. How do you problematize? Two major tools. Through questions and through objections. But you have to know the difference between a question and an objection. But most teachers don't even know the difference. They ask, don't you think that? And I call that a question. That's not a question, that's an objection. Why? Because that's a form of a question, but it's saying I don't agree with you. You know? Don't you think that? It's a typical one, you know? So, problematization presents through questioning and objection. And the third thing is to conceptualize, that means identify crucial concepts, categories, general terms that can qualify something. If you have that job, you philosophize. If you don't do, you don't. Now, you might propose, you know, and even I think as far as I know, Lippmann, for example, who's a private philosopher, he will not deny this. He will not deny this. I think this is common to philosophy anywhere in the world. That if you don't identify problems, if you don't deepen something, if you don't produce concept, you're not doing philosophy. You're doing something else. I don't know what it is, but you're not doing philosophy. So then the question is, how do you go about doing it? Right? Now you can have different. That's why I don't insist so much on the step-by-step, because I don't want a ritual to be installed. You so I don't care about it, right? So it doesn't matter. But how do you do a discussion? If all you do as a teacher, say, now you speak, now you speak, now you speak. Very nice. Why not? No? In certain countries, it's already a big breakthrough. In certain countries, students don't discuss. Very good. I would say that in Japan, now they learn to have discussion in college, in university, because they've never done it before. It's about time, you know? But it's a big thing in Japan, they're becoming conscious of the problem. So they learn. So all this is good. But I'm saying if you want to do philosophy, you have to learn other things. What are you saying when you say this? What is the problem of you saying that? What is the concept? Yeah? So then you manage it, see? Now, I know sometimes people say, it's confusing when I'm doing. Why? Because I'm not giving A, B, C. But that's not the point. I want to show you first attitudes and competency. For example, if a child doesn't know how to listen to another one, you know, I see this all the time, you know? There's a question. 10 kids raise their hand. They're all like the hand up, right? And one is speaking. The others will go like that. I can guarantee the one like that is not listening. I can guarantee. I mean, 99 chance out of 100. He's thinking what he's going to say. So I said, don't do this. Put your hand down. First of all, we're going to deal with that first idea before we go on to the next one. You know? Otherwise, you just get a TV debate. You know, I mean, it's going to be fun. You know, it's not. See? So that's what I'm trying to raise your attention to. Don't worry the way I organize the thing. If you find things you pick up, go ahead. Structure what you want, but how to be demanding. Philosophy is demanding. Does that answer your question or not really? It makes it clear or not really? It does, yeah? No? So, somebody else had a thing you wanted to raise.
I did, but I think you've answered it.
Just for
Yeah.
fun, go ahead, what was it?
Does the original concept or problem that you start with get lost along the way?
Just the original problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's a very important question, but I'll tell you. You know, I work in Africa, you know, and in Mali, they told me the very following thing. You see, you went to the river to wash, but on the way there were crocodiles, and you had to fight with the crocodiles. And sometimes there's winning crocodiles that you couldn't, you know, go and wash in the river. Right? Same thing. So when you start, I had to deal with a lot of crocodiles, but these are good. They're classical crocodiles. I'm happy they went there. How to hunt crocodiles, you know? Crocodile hunting, right? But of course, we still have this, you know? And at the same time, not only are crocodiles, but plus I have to make speeches to crocodiles to explain them what crocodile hunting is all about while shooting at them, you know? It's crazy stuff. Anyway, but we still have this, but we have to do this. But like I say, the second step this afternoon, when I hope something get cleared, I'll try to do some washing, you know? We'll try to put our foot in the river. This morning I'm doing a lot of, but at the same time, it's not extrinsic. I think it's part of the thing, right?
So it doesn't matter what you start with.
Now, I like the idea of structuring an exercise, you know? I give an example. Question. Oh, let me show you a good example. These books I have for children, the problem, like I said, they're not English, but I'll show you the way I structure the books, for example, for children. Only now Korean, Japanese, French, and English, but see, that's freedom, right? So I show you this children book. The parents buy this, or teachers, right? They're in the stores all over. So I like the idea that not to make. I have school books, but these are like public, you know, commercial books. Yeah? They're in 20 languages. This book, you know, like in Arabic, Spanish, right? So the way it's structured is fun. So when things is called freedom. What is freedom? Yeah? So for example, each time I choose 6 questions. See, I'm like you. I'm a philosopher, I'm trained. I would have 100 questions on freedom, but my publish is Oscar 6, not 7. 6, 9, yeah. And the last one, I tell you, I suffer. When I come to 10, I start suffering. Oh my God, which one? I think always like, that's going to kill one of my children, you know? Which one? You know, it's like perish, you know? Lifeboat ethics, you know? For 6 to survive, I have to kill 4. You know, and then I see the 8th question. Oh my God, the 8th question, that's cold, that's thick out, that's heckle. How can I get rid of it? Please publisher, no, 6. Good exercise. Tell you that sweat a lot, and lose a few kilos, good. Why are you so happy? You want to see me suffer, huh? Okay. No, but of course it's tough, you know? It's tough, but a good exercise, healthy, you know? And the 7th one, know, I try to wiggle the seventh one in one only half, you know. I'm like you, you know. Why are you so happy, deal? Okay. Anyway, so I have this for 6, right? Now, you think it's finished? No. Because then I have 6 questions. And each question I have to give 6 answers only. Same thing. I would like to give 100 answers to each question. I go through my list of authors, you know, I pass all these exams, from the pre-Socratic up to Derrida, whatever, yeah, oh, boom, boom, boom. No, 6 answers, no more. Wow, terrible, yeah? So, for example, do you need to grow to become free? Because kids are the idea that adults are free, you know, children are not free. So I chose this, right? You have to grow to become free. First hypothesis. Yes, because only adults are masters of their own life. That's what children typically say this, yeah? And then this problematization question. Yes, but. Does an adult have no master beside himself? Doesn't the adult have another master? You know, is he really his own master? I mean, you have a banker, your spouse, your, you know, president, whoever, you know, your neighbor. Everybody's bossing you, you know. I don't know you, but. Okay. Second, yes, but to be a master of your life, is it as well to accept not to master everything? Now, in order to be a master of your life, should you accept not to master everything? So a little paradox about mastering. Third, is there, since they say only adults are master of life, question, is there a precise age where you become master of your own life? That's the paradox of the heap of sand, right? Then is it like the day of your birthday? That's it, I'm a master, you know? Fourth, can you be a master of your own life when you don't choose to be born and to die? That you're born and you're dead. In other words, does it make sense to say you're a master when you don't decide to be born? You don't say that. So these are 4 problems. These, of course, they have no answers. So there's more question answered. That's the reason I gave why they're not published from American or English publishers. They go at the end, no answer, right? No problem. Just in case you wonder. Then second hypothesis. Second hypothesis, do you need to grow to become free? No, because I have less responsibility and worries than an adult. In other words, I'm more free, you know? Because I have less jobs. I'm more free, I have no responsibility, I'm fine, you know? Yes, but to be free, is it to be capable of accepting responsibility? We're in Kant, for example, here, yeah? Freedom is dealing with necessity. Second, are adults obliged to be responsible, or are they freely responsible? Do you have to be responsible, or do you determine freely? Interesting problem, no? Third, are your responsibility and worries less important than the one of an adult? Or is a child responsibility less than the one of an adult? Because it seems obvious it's yes, but let's look at it. No? Fourth, don't adults invent themselves sometimes useless responsibilities and worries? You know, don't adults do this, right? Oh my God, you know, right? And the child's not as interesting. Okay? So anyway, so each one, I won't go further on this you want later, but the structure is this, is structure, you know? And that's the structure of workshop. A theme, 5 questions. Each question, 6 hypotheses, whatever, 3, 8. Each hypothesis, problems. That's called a doctoral dissertation. That is the structure of doctoral dissertation. The rest is filling in, you know? But that's the point. When you do philosophical work, when I have to write a dissertation, that's what I have to do. I transpose for children what I have to do to become a doctor in philosophy. I have to do this. Except you have to, in French we say, put water in the soup, you know? But the essential is here. That's what I like, you know? But to do this, I had to do work. I had to eliminate pruning, you say?
Yeah.
Pruning. Chinese art. You know the Chinese artist? You know the story? All his life he did the same painting. But at the end of his life, he did it in 3 strokes. Boom, boom. That's my Chinese art. This concept, you know? So that's this pruning, this eliminating, this choosing, this finding crucial problems and concepts. You know, here each time it's around 6 concepts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah? That's what he's philosophy. Then how you organize it, who cares? I propose that structure. You can, you know, I'll give you another example. It's a story. I do this from, well, let's say I'm with children, 5 years old. Tell a story, because we can start with a story, okay? The story of the princess, the dragon wants to be the princess, and then, okay, the knight comes, kills the dragon, saves the princess, marries the princess, you know, the story, the classical story. Okay, tell a story. Now, who do you prefer? Well, little boy, what do you prefer? I prefer the knight. Okay, why do you prefer the knight? Because he saved the princess. Okay, so he produced an argument, good. He's not trying to tell you the whole story. That's what they try to do, you know, no, just an argument. All right, good. Now, if the knight saved the princess, how can we qualify the knight? Huh? Is he stuck, nostalgic, or something else? Same thing for the knight, that's for us. What is he? And in fact, Plato says that to qualify is to go to the essence of things, right? When I qualify, I say what something is. Like man, rational animal, rational essence of man. So, in fact, who wants to qualify the knight here? Give me a word to qualify, a concept to qualify the knight, please. Adjective, somebody?
Hero?
Is that an adjective?
Courageous.
Courageous? Yes. By the way, I work a lot on the structure of language. And that's a good way to do grammar. Grammar is a dead thing that we use it. But I use grammar as a way of thinking, as for an adjective, see? So the kids, they learn, you know, and that's important to show. Because the structure of language is structure of thinking. We forget that. So anyway, an adjective. Courageous, you said? Who else is the second one? Different.
So heroic.
Heroic, okay.
I didn't hear that you said adjective.
I know. But why didn't you hear? Thank you. That's to take home this one, okay? McDonald's, you know, think away. Yes, exactly. You point in the right direction. Yeah. Already here. Anyway, heroic or courageous? Aha! Heroic, courageous. Let's hear it. Same thing, different. Why heroic? Then you have to go back to the story. Why courageous? Make conceptual distinction. See? So first create argument. First, argument. Why the knight? Second, concept. Good. Second, new concept. Problematization. Conceptual difference. We go. And the job is that then we'll discuss, analyze those two concepts, and the class will decide which one is more appropriate. Doesn't mean that the others is really bad, but which one we think is the most pertinent. So you get the kids really to work out, and they go look at the text, find how to analyze, interpret, and all this. Very interesting, you know? So that's a very simple structure. That, you know, give you an example. What's your first name? Chin-Lo, okay? That's, you see, that's a very simple structure. But the structure, in a way, I don't care about. So you can use I call it money ritual. You know, a story, a list of questions. It's how you do it. I don't care. But in the spirit and the requirements you give to the kids, so there's actually philosophical work going on. That's what, you know. Because then I invent a lot of exercises. You know, this, like, for example, okay, for example, here there was a whole thing. This is actually the French language book. These are more school. I do this for the teachers, so they actually have each exercise works a specific competency. For example, here it's to work on concept and problematize concepts. So I ask, to compare children and adults in relation to each of these different words. Play, responsibility, friendship, knowledge, to speak, honesty, learn, courage, force, generosity. So I get them to compare if this concept operates differently in a child and an adult, right? You know? And it's always like Cam said yesterday, it's always same and different, you know? Another exercise will be a moral dilemma, you know? A man has no food for his children. He steals at the store. They put him in jail. Is it right or is it wrong? You know? Another will be logical thing. Another one, this one is interpretation. Their expressions, they have to, hermeneutics, you know, they have to give interpretation. Let's say, for example, the first one, you're my little heart. Expression, you're my little heart. Expression. So what we do, all the kids, if they can write, they write. I use a lot of writing, so everybody does it, right? Or interpretation. Everybody gives an interpretation, right? Then we put one on the board. Who think that's correct? Who think that's not? You know, what is your argument? So this was an interpretation exercise, right? So you have exercise in argumentation. Others give argument for, argument against. So each time I try to work on a specific competencies, so the teacher is clear on the competencies. But this is not English, but actually I'm going to write a book of exercise in English, because I'll take some of this. I have to publish something in English, so I will do this. But why? Because then the teacher, instead of having just discussion, he works on specific competencies. And that's the difficulty. You know, it's hard in the discussion what kind of question to ask. So one way is to learn the kind of questions. The second way is to divide exercises. Well, like as well than others. You work on specific competencies. Is there a last question or comment before we break? Somebody has a burning thing that he wants to come out with, or what?
I was just saying it's an important, interesting
Very good. I see someone has been listening. Okay. Good student. Yeah. Okay. So otherwise, I propose we stop here. And I have a website, by the way.